Tales from Europe. King John and the Abbot of Canterbury. From Great Britain. King John of England was a cruel and jealous man. He couldn't bear the thought that anyone else in the kingdom might have wealth or popularity. If anyone at all was to have power and be envied, it was to be King John himself. He wielded his authority recklessly, and he was ruthless towards those whom he believed threatened his absolute control of the country. It is said that King John heard one day that the Abbot of Canterbury had amassed great wealth. It was whispered that the abbot kept a magnificent house, with costly furnishing and 100 men to guard and wait upon him. It was rumored that the abbot's servants even wore golden chains around their necks. When King John heard these things, he became angry, for such a life, he thought, was fit only for a king. So he sent for the abbot and said to him sternly, "How now, Father Abbot? It is said that your house is bigger and richer than the king's. Do you think this is seemly and proper?" "My liege lord," the abbot said humbly, "this tale is false. I am not a rich man, and everyone knows that I never spend a penny that is not mine." "Do you mean perhaps that I do?" King John said in anger. "You should die for this grievous insult." "I meant no insult," the abbot said. "I spoke only of the malicious rumors of my wealth." "Nevertheless," King John said, "I do not like your manner of speaking. You should be punished. Yet I will give you a chance to save your life. If you can answer 3 questions to my satisfaction, I will spare you. If you fail, you have an appointment with my executioner." Since he saw that he had no choice, the Abbot of Canterbury agreed to try. "Here are the questions," the king said. "First, tell me to an exact penny what I am worth. Second, tell me how soon I may ride the whole world about. And third, tell me exactly what I am thinking. If you cannot answer these questions, the headsman is waiting for you." The abbot was very discouraged, since for all his knowledge he could not answer a single one of the questions, but he begged the king to give him 3 weeks to find the answers, and the king granted him the time. The abbot rode away downcast in spirit. He rode to Cambridge, and he rode to Oxford, but not one of the clever professors there could help him. At last, when only a few days more remained, he was going sadly home, and he met by the roadside the shepherd who tended his sheep. "Welcome home, Lord Abbot," the shepherd cried. "What is the news from the court?" "Sad news, shepherd," the abbot replied. "I have only 3 more days to live. Unless I can find the answers to 3 questions the king has asked me, I will lose my head." "I pray, Lord Abbot, what are these questions?" the shepherd asked. The Abbot of Canterbury told him, "First I am to tell the king what he is worth to a penny. Then I am to tell him how soon he may ride the whole world about. And lastly I must tell him what he is thinking." "Then cheer up, Lord Abbot," the king said. "Did you never hear that even a fool may teach a wise man wit? Lend me a horse, some of your clothes, and servants to attend me. I will ride to London in your place to answer the king's questions." The abbot was not very pleased that an ignorant shepherd could possibly be mistaken for him, and he was still less pleased to think that the shepherd might be able to answer questions that the abbot could not. But he had little choice in the matter, so he agreed with the proposal. He gave the shepherd his clothing, his horse, money, and servants to accompany him. While the abbot continued his way home, the shepherd, disguised as the abbot, rode off to London. King John received the shepherd coldly, but he repeated his promise to spare his life if the 3 questions were answered correctly. The next day the king was seated in his chair of state, wearing his most luxurious purple robe and his jeweled crown. The nobles and attendants were all around, waiting for the spectacle. Outside waited a man dressed all in black, the executioner. The shepherd, wearing the abbot's clothes, was brought in. He bowed to the king and said, "I am ready, sire." The nobles grinned in expectation. "Tell me first," the king said, "how much I am worth to a penny." "Sire," the shepherd said, "that is easy. In this fair land the coin that we call a sovereign is worth 20 shillings. The coin that we call a crown is worth 5 shillings. A sovereign minus a crown is worth 15 shillings. But you, sir, are a sovereign, and, as can be plainly seen, you have a crown as well. Therefore you must be worth exactly 25 shillings. King John laughed when he heard this display of wit. "I did not think I was worth so little," he said, "but I will accept your answer. as the arithmetic is incontestable. So now you may answer the second question, Lord Abbot. How soon may I ride the whole world about?" "That is also easy, your grace," the shepherd replied. "You must ride with the sun, and ride with him all day, never falling behind. If you keep up with him until he rises the next morning, you will have ridden around the whole world in 24 hours. The king laughed again and accepted the answer. "It is true," he said, "that this is the only way it could be done. But now you have the hardest question of all. Tell me what I'm thinking at this very moment." "Oh, that," said the shepherd, "is the easiest question of all. Your Majesty is thinking that I am the Abbot of Canterbury, but I am not the Abbot of Canterbury at all. I am merely his poor shepherd, here to ask for mercy from my worthy master." And the shepherd quickly removed the garments he was wearing. Everyone saw that he was in truth not the Abbot of Canterbury. The lords and courtiers roared with laughter. King John frowned, for he did not relish being the object of a deception, but soon he joined in and laughed with the others. The more he laughed, the more pleased he was with the entertainment. So in the end he gave the abbot a pardon, and the shepherd a rich present for himself.